Alright, folks, so something a little different. This would be, I guess, the second spin-off series we've performed here on Assetto Corsa. First is Universal GP. Now, welcome to the Nurburgring Chronicles. A series of 6 two-race championships, both on the Nurburgring North Loop. I totally botched that curled L at all, because I can't do that. A series of 7. I missed the bonus round. 7 two-race championships of varying lengths on the Nurburgring North Loop courses. Round 1 on the regular North Loop, and round 2 using the 24-hour variant, which also incorporates the Grand Prix layout. And each episode will increase the performance of the vehicles used. So this first round, we have very underwhelming vehicles. This is cool. I actually forgot I could do this. So, for example here we have Gearhead and a Lotus Elise, who just absolutely destroyed me off of the line. Also, because my car is on track, it's going to pause every time I pause it, so let me just throw myself in the pits without even seeing myself. So we have myself in an Alfa Romeo GTA, or usually called a Giulia, but to avoid conversion with one of the newer models that's also called that, they just call it the GTA. Model completely new to Universe Zero. It was never ever used in the previous series. Gearhead and a Lotus Elise. I don't remember what SC stands for. It's not supercharged, because that wouldn't make sense. Lotus Elise are turbocharged, if anything. And he's also totally crushing this. Samurai Jack is here in a 2015 Mazda MX-5, aka the official vehicle of hairdresser ladies. Next to him, as you can probably see, is Ryan Storm in a 1960-something Ford Escort. Interesting model, but believe me, it was actually a very effective vehicle when it was around. Mojo Jojo in another Alfa Romeo GTA. Alex in another Mazda MX-5. Each of the 3 Powerpuff Girls are in a different color of, well, depending on where you are, it's either called a Fiat 500 or an Abarth 500. This is a racing variant. Hypermite is also in a dark blue one, and Blossom started in last, but trust me, she's here too. As you saw get past Buttercup, or as you saw passing Buttercup, we have Deliverance, who makes his well, maybe shock return, but if you remember what he drove in the original series, maybe it's not too much of a shock to you. Yeah, apparently he stepped it up. These low-powered vehicles are right in his comfort zone. He must have also gotten some upgrades on that thing. We have Muscle Tone, also in the Ford Escort, as is Race Cam. And finally we have Danny in the Lotus Elise as well. So each vehicle has at least 2 drivers. The only one that has more is the 500, which has 4 drivers, the Powerpuff Girls and Hypermite. And this will not be the driver roster in every single race, by the way. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Bert. I forgot about him because he was kind of getting past as I was talking. But yeah, Bert is also in a Toyota AE86. Gearhead is kind of demolishing right now. This is a cause for concern, to say the least. I may have to initiate Snap on him, which kind of has a very different meaning now with the whole Thanos Snap thing, but trust me, it doesn't eliminate half the population. It only eliminates 1 car about half the time I use it. The other half, it just completely misses, or I just wreck my own car. Still sitting in 3rd, and I think the Alfa Romeo might be the weakest vehicle in the class, but I'm not sure. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change this camera because being this close is weird. It usually isn't in this series, and let's not change now, shall we? I think the Escort is probably the second best behind the Lotus. I'm aware the Lotus is the best car. But I was really hopeful that they would both start in the back. No, Gearhead wasn't so unfortunate, so he gets basically a free win. The Abarth is right in the middle. And the Toyota 86, I think, is actually probably third best, ahead of the Abarth. And then the MX-5 is just a step ahead of the Alfa Romeo. But, as you can see, very much behind the likes of the AE86. I'm about to get consumed by one right now. Bye. Yeah, these things do not have the necessary top speed. Compared to what Deliverance is hitting, which actually isn't that much higher. Thing is, it's uphill, so that'd be why. Did I mention how far ahead Gearhead is? Because Gearhead is incredibly far ahead. And Storm, too. The Escort is incredibly good in this series, at least. It's obviously not a very fast car, normally, compared to what would usually have popped up in this series, but because we're starting slow, you know, it's a little different. The interesting thing is now, does Deliverance have the car to catch up to at least Ryan Storm? I think Gearhead's largely out of the topic of discussion by this point, considering he's got, like, lead. I'd have to guess probably close to 10 seconds. Somewhere around there, 10, 12, 15 at most, over Ryan Storm. And then from him, it's like another 12 or 13, maybe even more, maybe somewhere around there, to Deliverance. So the top 3 are incredibly separated, but the other, like, 10 are really close. Or 12, rather. I can add. Okay, so it's looking like the 500 here is not all that good. Which is weird, because it's even like a Cup Racer variant, which means it should be a little faster than the stock model of the car, yet it seems to not be able to hold a candle to most of the other vehicles besides probably the Alfa Romeo. I say that Hypermite decides he's going to attack Danny through, it's not really normally an area you attack anything other than the wall. You don't really pass here unless you're a maniac. And then again, Hypermite does have, did have amnesia. You know, he kind of falling from space does that. Ask Shadow. And yes, I did kind of half inspire his backstory from Shadow the Hedgehog. The character, not the game. I mean, the game, of course, refers to that event, but the plot is, unfortunately, much more than that, so I should probably actually watch that Let's Play of yours at some point when I have spare time. I've seen the game plenty of times, but I don't know, it'd just be interesting to see your side of Sonic. Yeah, the Mazdas aren't much better than the Alpha. I think it's a little faster, but not enough faster to really, you know, work. I took a very long nap at the wrong time, so I have plenty of energy. I don't know how many of these will do before I end up going to sleep. Oh, I hear a noisy vehicle. It's Race Cam. The Mazdas are incredibly quiet compared to that. Jeez. I'm dumb. There's like a massive like brain failure for a second there. I don't know if you've noticed. I missed Gearhead's top speed. Orion Storm hits 140. We see this. Bert, I don't think he's not going to get over 140. So he is losing ground a little bit to Muscle Tone. I don't know if Gearhead hits over 140 either. I could look at the replay, I guess, and look at his cockpit view. Gearhead. That really isn't all that helpful. Keyblade, you're allegedly Canadian, you know kilometers. How fast is he about to go here? I mean, I roughly know how to do the conversion. Right now he's doing 240 kilometers, so that'd be close to like... Yeah, it's around 140. I know 200 is 125. Another gear too, I think. So yeah, 240 kilometers an hour must be close to about 135, 140 miles an hour. It is a 16.5-second gap or so between Gearhead and Ryan. Almost probably 17 by this point. What is the gap now between him and Deliverance? Another 15. Yeah, you see the gaps stack up here. Let's go again! Okay, yeah, I'm definitely seeing now the Abarths are terrible. I wonder what they hit on the straightaway. I'm gonna check that again as well. Just doesn't really matter which one I look at. It's like 130 here. Yeah, like close to like probably like 130 flat right here. Faster than the MX-5s. Who are doing like probably 120. Danny, go away. So apparently Bubbles is the alpha Abarth, which actually rolls off the tongue pretty nicely, if I do say so. I'm going for a pass, actually. Meanwhile, the other three can't even pass an Alfa Romeo. We're just gonna form a single file line behind the giant evil monkey, I guess. It's probably worth mentioning, even though it might be already pretty obvious. These aren't canon Time Loop or Universe Zero. Nothing that happens on this game as long as Time Loop exists is going to be canon, just because it seems physically impossible. The drivers are currently bound to only GT3 cars, and none of them know where each other are. I mean, there's a few groups, like, all the girls know where each other are, and they know where Dexter is, and Ben 10, and Samurai Jack. All the Cartoon Network characters, with the exception of number 1, know where each other are. Actually, wait, what am I talking about? It's not number 1. Number 1 is with them. It's, Ben 10 that's not. Gearhead and Danny know where each other are. Don't think the professor knows where they are, though. You know, you guys can't pass him if you're trying to pass each other. Hyper Mario just being inconsiderate. Let's get back up to the front of the field, where there's really not much happening. Most of the action is kind of behind me. Not really, just Alex. Never mind. And Alex has continued to lose positions. Danny is definitely not behind me anymore. Samurai Jack is on my behind, and Bubbles on his. Apparently, I guess the cartoon characters would know where Otto is, too. But I think the last known location for any Cartoon Network character is Spain, with the exception of Ben 10, because the last time we saw him, I don't remember. I haven't played as him, and I think the last time he appeared was like episode 3 at well, Sakito, which I would just usually refer to as Sasuka, because that's what it's supposed to be. And Buttercup, who we obviously saw at Sugo in Japan. Bubbles, that's the grass. You don't really pass anyone there very easily. It hasn't seemed like these three have gotten any closer together at all. So, unless somehow the AI can choke away races, Gearhead has won the race. And the podium positions are all but already predetermined. Unless Muscle Tone manages to catch up to Deliverance and bring Bert with him, in which case he might have a battle for the podium, but the top two are definitely set in stone by now. I think the series will get a little more exciting as we get to faster cars. You know, ones that can actually exceed 100 miles an hour and more than one spot on the track. Because I had to test all these races to make sure they're at least remotely balanced. This kind of slipped through the cracks, apparently. And, Danny is evidence that it wasn't just a Gearhead thing. No, he started in last, and he's made his way up to 7th place, and is catching race cam. Meaning that he could actually be on for a top 5, assuming the Lotus is fast in a straight line, as I seem to believe it is. But I also have to take a break because I have to go to the bathroom. It's like I actually put my car on the track so the game will pause when I do this. Alright, and now I've returned. Honestly, sort of embarrassing that I couldn't hold it another 4 minutes. If we're waiting for the end of Gearhead's race, it'd be another 30 seconds, but we do have to wait for the other cars to finish. And that will be another 3 minutes, so... So unless I can manage to block like a maniac, I don't think any of the Powerpuffs are getting any point. Oh, or not. I'll just block myself. Way to commentators curse myself. Me. Well, now she can't even... Actually, no, she can just pass me to get points, but... That's if she can do that, which I would think, yeah, but it doesn't really have the greatest top speed. 120 isn't too good. And Gearhead is already finished. Brainstorm is in the last set of corners. God darn, stupid Team Sonic Racing music is stuck in my head. 28 seconds. That's a lot of distance. I wonder if Deliverance caught or lost time. I think he probably lost. It's 14.7. No, we don't. It's 13.1. He caught a little. Unfortunately, he would need like another, like 7 laps to catch him, Ryan. She has not been able to pass me. My top speed is a little higher than I actually thought. I didn't think it would be 125. Bubbles actually has less speed than me. The Zabards are actually a disappointment. Miatas are even slower though. Alex will finally arrive at the finish line. And I round the final bend, and I will rob any of the Powerpuff Girls from scoring in round 1. As the Fiats are, or the Abarths are, thoroughly disappointing. Alright, so now let's head into round 2. Let's change the time back to 8 o'clock, or 8:30. And let's go to part 2 of this. So this is just the same thing again. Hopefully a more preferable starting grid where the Lotuses aren't like first and second or something. Because clearly that was a miscalculation. That the Lotuses were balanced here. It's taking an awkward moment to load or two, that's for sure. The other point of this series is it's kind of supposed to serve as the grand reveal for the last 2 time loop characters to pop in. That are going to pop in, at least for the foreseeable future. I can't imagine, unless the original series has any new ideas Robo Alex didn't really take, but anything along those lines, they might end up popping in here, but otherwise I think the 2 that I'm adding into Time Loop will be it, unless I have reason to add the other 2 related characters. Which I don't think I will. There's a good pattern to the ones I put in, and Mundorf tank, what the heck is that kind of word? Alright, so let's look at the starting grid. Son of a gun. The other Lotus is near the front. And he has even less of a challenge taking the lead in the first turn because it's Blossom on pole. Deliverance starts in last. That is unfortunate, but compensated because Vert Wheeler starts in 5th with a solid chance of coming home in a top 3 spot. Too much air! Witness the acceleration, or lack thereof, anyway. Yeah, bye Danny, we'll see you next week. Is he actually this is the turn of the zone? What does that say right there? Race game might have a chance if you can catch him off guard here. Blossom unable to put up much of a resistance to all these cars passing. Cummins must have tone blocked off by Ryan, so they'll end up blocking each other instead of, you know, making more progress towards the front and joining Race Cam in the escorts, as it were. I'm already almost out of points if Bubbles somehow does manage to pass me here, which our car does have better handling than mine, it seems like, but I just have actually more horsepower somehow. The Mazda's in a procession. Gearhead is just kind of fogged up with no place to go here. Now I get into the real stuff here. How's Deliverance going? Already up 4 places from where he started. Sleep on the Toyota, man. Deliverance knows exactly what he's doing with it too. It's his own car. Danny is once again pulling away, but Vert and Race Cam are very close together. However, Race Cam's other escorts are now approaching, as is Gearhead, who will actually make this quite interesting where he is, because they're all three probably catching Vert and Race Cam up here. Man, even starting from pole, Blossom still might not get points in this race. She keeps dropping down the order as she is now. Excuse me. Danny off to a comfortable lead. So if Gearhead finishes better than Danny did in the last round, which was 7th, he will win this initial Nurburgring Championship, the first of 7. Race Cam still holding on. Alex and Samurai don't really have anywhere to go behind Blossom right now, which is probably her only advantage. And the fact that she gets like 3-4 extra miles an hour down the end straight. Gearhead is just hounding Ryan right now. And you can see it's kind of getting to him. His car, very unstable through that turn. Oh, Vert is getting a little picky, a little pushy, not a little picky. It doesn't make any sense. Letting race cam know he's there. But not yet to any avail. And again, of course, the more time they waste with that fight, the more easy it gets for Muscletone and Gearhead and Ryan to just catch them and make it some just big 5-way free-for-all for second place. And of course, all this looks really great to Danny as well, because he has no issue with being a part of it. Alex makes a pass on Samurai Jack. On the outside, no less. Passing in general here is difficult. Would you go on the outside of somebody? Well, that's just Alex for you. Guys, you don't really go that fast if you're not on the road. I'm just saying. The Escorts have the horsepower advantage over the Toyota. What's Deliverance doing? Already up to 10th, and probably not far from catching Blossom in the Mazdas. What speed are they hitting here? Just barely cracking 100. Deliverance, considerably more than that. Almost up to 120. He's already knocked me out of points, and now I'm just going to be chased around by Abarths, other than Blossom, since she started ahead of me, and it doesn't really seem like she deserved to, but she did. The small top speed advantage she has allowed her to gain at least a little breathing room over the two Mazdas. And the fact that Deliverance is about to attack them is going to make things a little easier on her for the time being. They'll be distracted with trying to keep him in their mirrors, that they won't be able to really pressure her. I think she can still score, just because of how far behind from them I am. And the other vehicles that follow me. Hypermite and the other Powerpuff Girls characters. If there's any proof this is really a driver's track. Bird is once again right on top of that escort. The other escort's now close following, and this could be very interesting down the back straightaway coming up in like a minute's time. Speaking of which, I believe Danny might... oh, never mind, Danny is not already on it. I am talking out of my butt. Not even close to that yet. He's got like 5 turns to go. He's close to it, but he's just obviously not there. Ryan and Gearhead a little late to the party, but Muscletone is not at all late to the party. He's not really holding much back and getting into it either. And I think I know roughly how this will transpire as we hit the back straight. The Escorts will actually get ahead. I think they have more power than the Lotus, and they definitely overpower this Toyota, Vert. Because the Toyota has such great handling that I really can't do much about it. I also believe that Deliverance will eat the Mazdas and Blossom alive as well. Because the Mazdas definitely don't have much top speed here. And here it goes. Reddithink had a bit of acceleration, but he has very slow gears, and so Race Cam just kind of leaves. And Muscle Tone will follow, most maybe. Suspension seems to be a little floppy, so maybe he won't actually get ahead. He's kind of like panicky almost. Are you like cold or something? Is that why you're shaking? You gotta do it here. You can see it next lap. Then he has just crossed the line to begin the second lap. Bert actually attacks Race Cam, which is not the outcome I foresaw from any of this. Botches himself out of the exit of the turns though, and Muscle Tone still can't capitalize on any of that. 16-second gap to the lead from here. Deliverance, as expected, demolished the other three. We should get a action shot of that, because I imagine it probably look pretty cool watching somebody pass 3 cars in one straight. Let's get up to around like 210, right? Yeah. Camera. And there goes Alex. And with not much more difficulty, he gets kind of blocked off because he didn't expect her to move over. Look at those reflections. Whoa. Sure, it's like 20 FPS, but there's still reflections. He has cleared them, and he even had time to get to the inside for the corner. It's no wonder to look at. The technical section, Gearhead knows exactly where his car shines in comparison to the Escort. But, Rhinestorm drives apprehensively, and therefore Gearhead has no place to go. What does that even mean, me? Drive apprehensively. It's like, I think I want to drive? Like, maybe I'm driving? I don't know, like... Bubbles, block him off. At least the other girls beat Mojo Jojo, right? Let's not repeat Act 9. Even though there's nothing on the table, but you know. You know, there's still about equal distance from each other. Now that we've gone through the GP section. Ugh. It's like from a cockpit view. Air conditioner down there. That is the weirdest, like, shift indicator I've seen in my life. Like little onion rings pop up to tell you when to shift. Like, what the heck? So these guys are getting along. Deliverance is nowhere near them, and I don't think he'll ever be in the course of this event. You know, because he was 28 seconds behind them when the lap started, so it's kind of difficult to make up that amount of time, you know? Ryan gets a little frisky up there. Almost lost all control. Ryan, where are you going? Oh, big brake lockups from both escorts. Gearhead's probably leaking a bit of oil right now. What are they doing in the back? Mojo Jojo is, well, has been passed by Peppermint. Buttercup is the only one behind him still. Vert with a big lockup up ahead. Must have gotten a little bit desperate. Meanwhile, Danny is like probably at least 25 seconds ahead. It's like everyone's close, but it's just like a Congo line. No one ever wants to actually do anything, and when they do, they just mess it up. I.e. Ryan, when he went for something rash against Muscletone and nearly wrecked himself. Muscletone is in the grass, and you had passed Ryan. When did that happen? Darn, something finally happened and I completely missed it. Of course I did. Ryan got caught up on Muscletone, and Gearhead just seized the opportunity, and yeah, we'll see you later. So things have finally happened. Whereas Kim has definitely broken away from Vert now, to say the least. Lotus is OP. Oh, now everyone's officially past Mojo. Mojo Jojo's car has no go. Big lockup from Muscletone. He must be under immense pressure from the robot behind. I think Racecam all but has second place confirmed for himself. Bert's too far back to really do anything, and once you get to the straightaway, his car is inferior. Well, when Racecam does that, it becomes a bit of a different story. Guess that just commentators cursed him or something. Kind of ironic, if you think about it. I still think Racecam should have it unless Vert can pass him. Which would be outrageous if he could, because you don't really pass through anywhere in this part of the track. Unless you're like straight up suicidal or homicidal. The analysis, the AE86, the Escort, and the Elise are about even top speed and power-wise, but the modern chassis and suspension system on the Lotus just give it so much more handling than these two have that there's just nothing that they can do about it. Gearhead's actually claimed Muscletone's spot, I imagine down the straightaway, but might have had a good run out of the turn. Vert cannot do anything about this. Danny will, of course, win the race by a very... Alright, Vert. Alright, Vert. Well, you tried, and you still couldn't get around him, and you tried to run him off the road completely. A rare mean streak from probably one of the most passive drivers in the series, Vert. Ironic given how he acts in the movies, but... Lawrence wasn't that far away by the end. He must be like 12, 13 away. And it would seem as though Blossom will actually hold on to be the lone scoring vehicle for the Abarth group. Both the Miatas will score. Barely. That was 22 seconds. He caught a bit, but he would have still needed at least 3 laps to get to Ryan and them. Bubbles actually passed me? Mojo might have a small top speed advantage, but it's not nearly enough to bridge that gap. 33 seconds later, Blossom comes in to take 8th, with the Miatas directly in tow. Abarth's actually overfueled. They probably could almost run another lap with the fuel left. My god, Danny was the entire GP layout and then some ahead of the back group. Almost 40 seconds after Samurai Track comes Bubbles and the other Abarths and Alfa Romeos. Could call this a definitive loss for the Italian companies, that's for sure. The final standings between these two races, Gearhead wins by 4 points, but this just proves the Lotus was the definitive vehicle, and Danny just kind of got the shortest straw by starting in dead last in round 1 and still making his way up to 7th. None of the, the only Italian vehicle to score is Blossom. None of the Abarths or the GTA Alfa Romeos, actually no, I scored a point. Never mind, I forgot about that. Ryan, Storm, and Racecam have tied. The two Toyotas only 2 points apart. So that's it for the first part of the Nurburgring Chronicles. Next time we'll have slightly faster, better cars. But this, of course, comes at the price of potentially them being a little more unstable cars. And this risk will tend to increase as the series goes on, meaning we could have more unbelievable moments, or we could just have faster boredom.